my knowledge of music is almost non-existent.
Really?
So,
See, this is
yeah,
interesting because we don't talk about it much of the show. I was a classically trained musician growing up. No one ever knows what the instrument is. It's clearly not the guitar because I would probably still be talking about it to this day. People throw. I love the guesses too. People throw
flute. It was the
bassoon.
flute. It was the flute.
Who's telling you these things?
I'm just gonna
I
say
don't
it's the
know.
flute.
I don't know.
I'm
Maybe,
trying
or
to
maybe
think.
the
I
clarinet, or maybe the
I'm
harp. We
trying to
don't
think.
know.
No. I'm trying to think of what would be the most embarrassing instrument to have been classically trained in, and I think it was the flute. I think it would be the flute of all the instruments.
Worse than the clarinet?
Yeah, because a clarinet, like you could actually, with the clarinet, you could be in a band and not look like a loser. I don't think anyone has ever blown a flute
Oh
and
man,
not looked like a complete
flute
loser.
players, flute
I,
players unite at Clay Travis on Twitter. You got to
e-
light him up on this one. Have you not heard of James Galway or Jean Pierre Rampal, sir?
I've never heard of either, but I can guarantee you they're losers because they play the flute. If you voluntarily play the flute,
Oh man.
I think you're a
Oh
complete and total
gosh.
loser. I'm not a
Oh.
huge band guy in the first place, but of all the instruments you could play, I think the highest loser contingent would be the flute. So
Just
if you're
wait till he
not
finds
willing
out
to
about my
admit,
bassoon skills.
what instrument you played, I presume it was the flute.
All across America, flute players, piccolo players, which is really like a tiny
I don't even
flute.
know what the piccolo is.
See? Look at that. No respect for this member of the woodwind family known as the flute. Clay is not a flautist, and we have flute players all across America telling us that they want to have their word with Mr. Clay. So we will get to that in a little bit. I just wanted to say Clay decided to light that. This is a theme on this show sometimes. I'm looking one way and someone goes, "Hey, is that Clay with an M80?" And by the time I turn around, it's already lit and about to go off. I'm like, "Good heavens, what's happening here?" And there's Clay, just gleeful grin on his face as the M80 explodes.
I'm just picturing Buck like the big flute community instead of showing up outside the Supreme instead of showing up outside the Supreme Court justices to protest. Can you
You don't
imagine
understand. They're not going to
if my
protest.
front
They're gonna be on your front lawn all playing
That's what
flutes
I'm
until
saying.
all hours.
What is the most annoying song that a flute player could play in like en masse? Like you're the
I mean,
big flute
green
guy.
sleeves might be up there for some people. That's a classic flute, I don't know. There's some songs.
The big flute community is outraged over my assertion that people who play flutes are losers. It is the loserest of all the instruments. I looked at it, I was just like, maybe I'm being unkind to flutes. And I want to make it clear that I apologize for absolutely nothing. I looked it up. I'm not even sure what the second closest loser instrument is. There you got that guy. Like, you basically, especially if you're a man, maybe I
You
feel
go
differently about
flute
your woman.
over harp as really?
Well, the harp wasn't on my list of available instruments.
Score one for Team Flute out there, everybody.
Do men play harps? I think the harp is
I
only
think
played
so.
by like virginal women, right? Like, I don't. I think once you sleep with a man, you're not allowed to play the harp
Oh
anymore. That's
man.
the rule on the harp. I look at the flute and I think to myself, you have decided to become an expert on holding basically a penis-shaped object in your hand and blowing into holes on it all day long. This is not something that I choose to do. More power to you. By the way, we got an email. Lots of
An
emails.
email? Clay, we have got nothing but emails. Clay's decided the third hour of the show today is going to be devoted to naked swimming policies and flute players.
Clay, this is from Paul, VIP email. I am a professional flute player in South Florida. See, when I hear that, I just think like you're a male escort. That's what I think when I read that sentence. Just wanted to say, gay male escort, by the way. Just wanted to say, guys who play the flute are serious chick magnets. P.S. You guys are great. I love listening every day. No woman has ever said when she's seen a guy playing the flute, I got to sleep with that guy. That has never happened in the history of mankind. We want to make sure that we do some good in the world because God knows we say a lot of things that aren't necessarily amazing on the show on a day-to-day basis. And our friends at Tunnel to Towers, they actually make a tremendous difference in the world. They will make sure that they take care of so many people out there that gave their lives, to try and make you safe. And what Tunnel to Towers is doing right now is they are helping to make sure that younger generations know all about 9/11. You know, it's been, what are we sitting at, 23 years? There are kids graduating from college now who know nothing about 9/11. The Tunnel to Towers 9/11 Institute is righting that wrong, making sure that we never forget what happened on that day. You can join both of us in donating $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers.